We acknowledge the First Nations peoples of this land, the traditional custodians, and pay our respects to their elders past, present and future. We recognise the ongoing impacts of colonisation and the importance of a voice to Parliament to ensure the sovereignty and self-determination of First Nation peoples is respected and upheld. We commit to working together towards a just and equitable future for all Australians.
Hi, I'm Keighley, and it's Tuesday, the 28th of February.
And I'm Wence.
And you are listening to...
The New Blurt.
I can't take it anymore!
Good afternoon, good evening, good day, and good morning, Blurtsters, wherever you are around the world. You are listening to the New Blurt.
Tonight, I am coming to you from Wurundjeri country, the Kulin Nation of the Wurrung people. Sovereignty was never ceded, always has been and always will be Aboriginal land.
And I respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I live and work. The Yuggera and Turrbal people's sovereignty was never ceded.
Good evening, Wency, my friend. How are you going?
Not too bad, not too bad. Hoping I can survive this show. It's been a long, tiring day.
Oh, look, you got to let me in on the secret. You look slightly frazzled today. So what's going on? I know we've got to talk about the elephant in the room, which in this case is the name of the show, which is Thorpedo to the voice. So we will talk about that. We'll talk about Lydia Thorpe, what she's doing, what she was doing at the Mardi Gras, and what she's doing with Patricia Carvelis, and how she's a friends of Sky News, etc., etc. But anyway,
I can't wait to hear about that because I'm not familiar with those last two things. But I'm a little bit frazzled today because it's been a long day at work. We're still in the middle of moving things. I had to go pick up a wardrobe we bought off the marketplace late this afternoon, which barely just fit in the car. And I don't think we talked about it last week, but I have started university, doing my grad certificate in cybersecurity, and I have assignments due in 4 weeks, just about, and tutorial questions I've got to submit in the next couple of days before our first shoot on Friday. So it's all a little bit stressful at the moment.
So as if you weren't busy enough, you thought, fuck it, I'll make myself busier. That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
So yeah, if I'm frazzled or I don't know, short of mind, then it's just what's been happening the last few days.
Well, I'll bring you up to date. Lydia Thorpe lie down in front of a truck in the Mardi Gras.
Yes.
Now, did you see that? Because for the life of me, I've seen the footage, and for the life of me, I still can't work out what the hell she was protesting. I really don't know.
No, I heard about it the next day. My oldest, Elijah, who is in the Rainbow community, had some friends over for that night to watch WorldPride Mardi Gras in Sydney live. Yes. So they were there eating their chips, whatever, during the show, during the Mardi Gras.
I heard they had homemade pizzas.
And they did. We did make homemade pizzas. That's right.
You make them from scratch too, don't you?
You
make all the dough, the lot, everything.
Yep, pretty much. So we did all of that. So I wasn't watching the Mardi Gras for the whole period, but the kids didn't notice it. Maybe they didn't cut to it during when it was live. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
So we only found out about it afterwards.
Right. Okay.
And
do we know why she did what she did?
My understanding is it was in protest of the way the police treat the Indigenous First Nations peoples, because the truck or the float that was going or that she stopped in front of was either the AFP or police, is my understanding.
Well, the interesting thing about that is that I read on Twitter this morning that that reportage was not correct and was not accurate.
Wasn't it? Right.
No.
Okay.
So the way it looked and the way it was cut is that she did do exactly that, but there was an eyewitness who was actually at the parade who said that's not the case. She laid down in front of some other vehicle. It wasn't a police vehicle.
Oh, right. Okay.
But you are right. I mean, that is what she was protesting against, which is absolutely her right. And I'm actually totally on her side. I think it's an absolute disgrace that 3% of the population is 40% of the jail population. It's just, that's ridiculous. It's just,
that is.
There's something not right there. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, I'm totally on her side there, but I'm not on her side the way that she sort of goes about things. She's so militant. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand and I know about Aboriginal history, First Nations history, and I know about the massacres and the wars, and I understand it. I wasn't there, so, and it's not part of my actual history, but I absolutely get it. In that what happened was definitely wrong, and we obviously need to improve things without a shadow of a doubt, which we talk about on this program all the time, ad nauseum even. And that's why you and I are so pro The Voice. And in this show, again, we will put the link in so that you can do a course on The Voice if you want to. I think you put the links in for that before, haven't you?
May have. I will put it on as soon as I get hold of it.
I know we've had some requests in the past for it, so it'd be great to make it a standard default thing until The Voice is passed, which I absolutely hope that it is. I think the thing that really disturbs me with Lydia Thorpe and her militancy is that I can't confirm this, but I can confirm that Sky News are trying to hold her up at the moment as their sort of their black poster child, if you like.
Right.
Because she was pretty rude and a bit militant and obnoxious to Patricia Karvelis when she was on Radio National. Although I must say, PK can be a bit sharp at times as well, I think. So,
okay.
I didn't think it was a terrible interview, but Sky News jumped all over it and thought, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread was invented. And they just say, oh, you look for it's not just Sky, it's News Corp completely. It's in the Australian, it's in the Telegraph, it's in the Daily Mail, it's in any, piece of shit paper, basically, to say how much she destroyed Patricia Karvelis, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But the thing that really annoys me is that the people that are coming out and saying this from Sky News are people like Andrew Bolt, right? Now, Andrew Bolt in the past has openly said he doesn't believe in Indigenous history. He doesn't believe in the massacres. He doesn't believe in so many things that have happened I don't think he believes in the stolen generation either.
Really? Wow, that's amazing considering all the facts that we know about.
Well, it's just ridiculous and obviously racist. And so this is the sort of people that Lydia Thorpe is running around with now, and that makes no sense to me at all. And I mean, she keeps calling herself a black progressive, but you can't be on any side that Pauline Hanson's on and be a progressive. I'm sorry, Lydia, you can't walk both sides of the line. So
no, and that's one of the things that my oldest son said about this protest. Totally agree with the protest. There's no issues with it, but why hijack the Mardi Gras, another minority group that have fought for decades to get what they've gotten? Why did she have to do it at this point? Why not do it at a different event where we're not celebrating the positives of change and things like that?
Yeah.
So that's my beef with her protest. I agree with everything you've said. She's got every right to protest against all the injustices that have happened. But just shouldn't have been done at that event.
The other thing, I totally agree with that. And again, because as you say, it's minorities coming out and celebrating the fact that they're actually sort of, getting a bit more of a fair footing in the world, as it were. I mean, apart from if you're in Florida where you're not allowed to say gay, which is ridiculous. Yeah, look, we'll talk more about that when we get our US correspondent on, which hopefully maybe next week, I think. So
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so I agree with you wholeheartedly. If you're protesting in another minority's, protest if you like. I mean, that's where the Mardi Gras started. It was
exactly.
So it's a bit of bad taste, I suppose. But the other thing I don't like is that she not just lampoons, but is quite insulting of people like Pat Dodson and gee whiz, it's on the tip of my tongue. Megan Davis, Professor Megan Davis, and these sort of people that are in the voice process and are putting all the framework together, et cetera, and been working for years, since 2017. And they're not doing it, they're not doing it just on their behalf. They're doing it on the behalf of so many mob and so many people that got together in 4 years and went to Uluru and made that statement. But she seems to negate that, though. I mean, so I mean, it's
frustrating.
It is.
I don't think she's doing the cause any good. She's just going to divide more people by what she's doing, I think.
Yeah, that's why I find it hard when she calls herself a black progressive, because you obviously don't quite realize or understand what progressive means, because all you're doing is exactly as you just said. You're dividing mobs between themselves. She keeps talking about the grassroots aren't having their say and the grassroots aren't understanding the voice. But the other situation is, if you're not explaining what the voice is accurately and factually, they're only going to understand what you're going to convey to them if they don't have the ability to do it themselves, type thing.
Yeah. So, and my understanding is that at the, 5 or 6 years ago at Uluru, when they did the Statement of the Heart, they had just about every representative of most tribes across Australia at that event. So they all got their voice, and they've come up with this plan of having voice in Parliament, a treaty. I don't know if they've ever said which order it had to be in, but
it was voice first.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's how it was. I mean, Megan Davis will, if you listen to, thanks for that, Wednesday, for anyone watching the video on the YouTubes, as it were, or on Facebook, etc. Wence has put the website up there, which is fromtheheart.com.au/education. Just have a look at that, and you should be able to find a course if you want to know a bit more about the voice. We will keep talking about it on this show because, we think it's definitely. We know it's not the be all and end all, but it's a really good step in the right direction. And we need people like the opposition leader to get on board and support it.
Stop making it political.
Yeah, because it's not. It's total bullshit. It's not political. I mean, I want this to happen more than anything because, I want people to be treated fairly and equally. And I realize that's definitely not happening. There's no doubt that's not happening. But this is, this is a good chance to get something happening. So,
exactly.
Anyway,
another thing about the WorldPride before we move on.
Yes, go on.
It was great to see a sitting Prime Minister attend the WorldPride or Mardi Gras for the first time. No other Prime Minister's ever done that.
Yeah, first one ever.
And he didn't do it just for political reasons. He's been doing it for, I think he said he's been to 35 Mardi Gras in the last 45 years.
Yeah, Jeff wasn't Prime Minister at the time. That was all.
Yeah, exactly. Started off when he was a young Labor member and has never stopped, or hardly ever. Had a few years break, I'm sure, in between. But it's not out of the blue, so people can't say, "Oh, you're just doing this because you want votes." Nope,
Yeah.
he's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So good on him.
Absolutely. But if he gets a few more votes out of it, he'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Can't complain about that, that's for sure.
Next up, science.
You are listening to Science.
To go first, my friend.
Yeah, speaking of chemicals, as the sting alludes to,
yes.
I'm going to talk about plastic. It's everywhere. It's so damn hard to avoid in our society, isn't it?
Well, it's being stored in massive areas
quantities.
down here in Victoria.
Yeah, the lucky state.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've talked about that before. Good old Red Cycle went bust last year, and all their stockpile of soft plastics that was coming in via Coles and Woolies. Just stockpiled in warehouses dangerously.
You know what though? Coles and Woolies have been really, really good. They put a rescue plan together.
They have.
They've been fantastic. They've found somewhere to store it.
Where? In someone's backyard?
I don't know. But my facetiousness is that why couldn't they find somehow, some way, spend some coin and actually get the stuff recycled somehow?
I think what we need, this is a digression, of course. What we need is industry and government support, preferably to kickstart the idea. Is we need industry to come up with ideas of how you're going to use the recycled product
and stop making more.
Yeah, and we need the scientists to stop making that, or if they make any new products, make sure that when you do recycle it, it is possible to do in a safe manner.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just. I get very despondent when I mean, they recycled 5.8 billion tons or something.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job.
But we gave too much to them to process. Consumers, once again, we're too efficient.
We are using too much shit that we shouldn't be using. And, you know, I mean, gee whiz, but you'd have to be a genius to know that plastic comes from fossil fuels.
Exactly.
We've got to just...
and guess who owns the manufacturing of all those plastics?
Oh, go on.
The fossil fuel companies. Like your BHPs, who else? Yes, they do. I have read it. I can't remember the companies. I can't remember. If it comes to me, I'll remember. I'll mention it later. But I'm going to talk about one of those plastics, PVC. And so it's everywhere. We see it in hospital equipment such as your tubing, blood bags, masks. Also found in plumbing or your pipes in your household. And on the street, a lot of it's made out of PVC. It's also found in window frames, flooring, electrical wiring, shower curtains, your tents, tarps. It's just bloody everywhere. So the issue with PVC and obviously most plastics is, can it be recycled? And if so, can it be done effectively? PVC can be recycled. It's usually done through a mechanical process. It gets heated up. The downside to heating PVC is it creates hydrochloric acid, and it creates it very quickly, so it's hard to contain and control. And so some researchers at the University of Michigan in the US have been experimenting and discovered a chemical process to break down the PVC, which is polyvinyl chloride, hence hydrochloric acid. That's where it comes in. So in one of the lead authors of the study, Danielle Fagnani, I think she's Italian.
It sounds very much like it.
Yeah, Fagnani. She quoted, PVC is the kind of plastic that no one wants to deal with because it has its own unique set of problems. PVC usually contains a lot of plasticizers, which contaminate everything in the recycling stream and are usually very toxic. It also releases hydrochloric acid really rapidly with some heat. So obviously hydrochloric acid, not very good for your machines that are
I wouldn't have thought so.
using it.
Or
Not
your body.
good, or the body. So also not good for the humans who are in or around those machines.
Yeah.
The other problem with that hydrochloric acid and the breakdown is it's a highly toxic androgen disruptor. In other words, it can interfere with your thyroid and growth hormones, which is bad.
Do you have any good news here? Is there good news coming?
There is good news coming. That's what scientists do, good things, like the vaccine, as we all know. Please believe in science, everyone out there. So what this team? Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I meant with your segment.
Danielle and her others in the team have found by using electrochemistry, where they introduce electrons to the process of breaking down the PVC, breaks it down a lot more readily and easily and not as chaotic as the heat process. They can separate the hydrochloric acid a lot easier, and they can then reuse all the other components that are in the PVC and pull out those bits and then, let's say, put it in a bucket and use it somewhere else. The hydrochloric can be used in other industries, could be used as reagent for other chemical reactions, could be used for other chemical science experiments that may need hydrochloric acid. So it's still in its early stages and they still need to commercialize the process, but using electrochemistry rather than heat is the way to decompose or break apart all those components in a nice, safe manner. So there is hope that it will become a commercial product. So hopefully in the next few months or years, let's say, I prefer months, that we can start using that process worldwide.
So what, with the PVC we already have that's in the system, what do we do with that? I mean, obviously if it's in your house and it's holding it up or whatever, you're not going to pull it out in a hurry, but we've also got lots of PVC that's just hanging about in junkyards and all the rest of it. Like, can we recycle that, or what happens?
You should be able to, because it's just like any other PVC product, whether it's old or new, you can still recycle it. The problem at the moment is it's very hard to control that process.
The toxicity that's coming out of it when you try to do so.
Yeah. So it inevitably ends up in landfill, which, as we all know, takes thousands of years to break down.
Yeah.
And obviously, when it does break down, it's leaching into the soil and contaminating that. So as we discussed at the very start of this segment, our scientists need to work out a way, when they create new compounds, work out a way how to recycle it straight away. That way, you don't commercialize it if it doesn't work.
No, absolutely. No, you're 100% correct. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you and I both know that 2030 is, that's the latest amount of time that we really have to sort ourselves out. And anyone that thinks that is not the case, go and do some reading, because seriously, the world is completely fucked at the moment. And we've got lots of choices to make. And if we don't make the right ones, you and I won't be doing this in a few years' time.
No.
It'll just be, the planet will be harder and harder to live on. There's absolutely no doubt. There's just so much science around. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
it'll be hotter and wetter.
But, you still go to the supermarket and you still see people pick up plastic bags and you just go, what the actual, what do you need? Do you need a sledgehammer? I don't know.
I think we need to bring back bulk buys. Remember back in the days when we were young, you used to be able to go to the markets and buy in bulk rice. So you didn't have to buy it pre-packaged. You just bought your own container. They'd fill it up, your kilo, 2 kilos, whatever you wanted, and then you take it home. So we weren't using that much soft plastics back then.
Well, absolutely. And the other thing is, and they still do it now, if you go and buy rice, right, even if you go to Coles or something, you can buy it in sacks now.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't seen those.
Yeah, and those sacks break down. Like they're not, because they're coming from India, so they're not. I don't believe the petrochemical sacks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't believe they are. So, but there's just it's amazing because we've just come full circle. I mean, you and I grew up in a day where your nana or your mum or whatever, it's like when we were cooking, we would use the butter wrapper to that we didn't throw away, because you'd always use that to grease your pan.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that butter wrapper was able to break down because it wasn't made out of petrochemicals most of the time. It was like a sort of a papery type substance.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a CFC can of oil to spray.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's and it's like just all about repairing what you have and all the rest of it. I got to tell you, I went to the mall the other day, High Point, where Indy works, and I was just walking through there. I was just so sad. I really was. I was so sad.
What did you see?
Everything. Just so much shit that we don't need.
Yeah.
Just so much stuff
just
being
look at the
produced.
rubbish bins, how full of shit that's in there.
I know.
that could be reused or minimized.
And then you look at the hard rubbish that's on our streets just outside now, and you go through it and you go, you could actually recycle that. You could take that down and recycle. Don't put the freaking hard rubbish, because they won't recycle it.
Yeah.
It's just, it does my head in. But anyway.
And I know South Melbourne markets sell things in bulk, and you've got some some stores that also sell in bulk, but they're 2 or 3 times the price of buying it from the supermarket. So it's not really an incentive to take your own container. It's like,
yeah. Well, I will tell you one good thing. I went to a takeaway place the other day, and I try to, as much as I possibly can, if I do get takeaway stuff, I make sure it's fully recyclable, and I don't take any of, their plastic forks or any of that sort of stuff. But I did see a guy bring in his own pot.
Oh, nice. Like a tiffin?
And and they just filled it up for him. And I was like, oh, man, I want to do that. So,
That's
tiffin.
a great idea.
See, now how good an idea is that? Tiffin.
Yeah.
It's metal, it's reusable.
Yeah, exactly.
Just,
we've found a good local Indian restaurant that we've gone back a few times. So that might be a good idea. Take a tiffin with us.
Think about it.
Love it.
Seriously.
Yes. Great idea.
Think about it.
Let's start the trend.
And if you can, because we actually do have a proper tiffin, if you can, see if you can actually buy one. See if you can maybe get one online or something. Mind you, saying that, then you're consuming something maybe you don't need, because you might be able to use something else in replace of it. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always something. Anyway,
always is.
Yeah. Just time for a break. I think that was quite heavy, but we'll be back in a minute. And you are listening to The New Blurt with Wence and Keighley.
Hey, this is Hannah Melville Ray from the Australia Institute. I'm listening to The New Blurt with Wency and the Keighley, and you should be too. It's on Tuesday nights, live from around 8 p.m.
Right. That's right.
That's true. That is true. It's right now. So I thought I'd talk about some science breakthroughs.
Oh, okay, nice. I like breakthroughs.
Yeah, I've got a couple here. So Yale scientists revived cells in hearts and liver, kidneys, and brains of dead pigs for a lab for an hour.
Ooh,
and the revival was achieved using a device similar to a heart-lung machine and custom-made solution called Organ X. The pig's organs started functioning again and did not become stiff like typical dead pig.
Right.
Researchers hope their breakthrough will increase the supply of human organs available for transport by using viable organs from bodies long after death. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So was it still in the animal, or was it outside of the animal and they just kept it alive longer?
Yeah, I think they kept it alive longer, I believe. I think
outside of the body?
Yeah, I think so. I'll have to double check that. But the obviously the technology is all about, it may be useful for limiting damage to hearts from heart attacks and brains from strokes into the future. So that sort of stuff is, it is. It's pretty amazing. Another one I've got here too, you might have read about this one. It's a universal flu vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
So as we know, facing a triple demic, they're calling it, with the COVID-19 cases rising, et cetera. The 23 flu season building, this is from America, by the way, into what could be the worst in a decade. Because I could be wrong, but I feel that we may be wearing a few more masks here than they probably are in America. But I could be wrong. Are you still wearing masks? Or
not often. Sorry.
Do you wear them on public transport?
No. Sorry. I know you're.
I still do.
I know you do.
Every day.
I hear your rants. I hear your rants almost every day.
When I'm on public transport, I'll be on it. But anyway, no, it's your life. It's fine. Fighting the flu. I just have to get a new co-host when you die. No, fighting the flu represents a new challenge every year because influenza and viruses are constantly evolving. Some use vaccines are effective. Sometimes they miss the mark, which is interesting. But now Scott Hensley at the University of Pennsylvania and his colleagues have created a flu vaccine. It's based on the mRNA molecules and the same technique as Moderna. Now, the interesting thing about that is that Moderna is a private company, right? But America gave them a shitload of funding to fund the COVID vaccine.
Not surprised.
Absolutely. But they still have the ability to price the vaccine stupidly in America.
Right.
And this is what Joe Biden was saying in his State of the Union address. He was saying that we funded, and Moderna didn't just, come up with the funds themselves. We gave them this amount of money.
Right. Yeah.
So the fact that they can just put the price up out of people's reaches, obviously apart from the richest 1% or whatever, is pretty disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very wrong. Bloody Moderna.
Absolutely. But anyway, along with his partner BioNTech, used to make their widely used COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine has produced antibody responses against all 20 known strains of influenza A and B.
Right. Okay.
In its tests on mice.
Oh, in mice.
So, okay.
When were they tested on humans?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, with effectiveness lasting 4 months, the results were similar in tests on ferrets, fueling hopes the universal vaccine could work in humans too. I must admit, I do know a few people do remind me of a ferret. So,
so we'll work on humans then. Excellent.
we very much hope.
And this is the thing that came out of COVID is, yes, it was terrible. We went through it. But the science behind it, the way the world got together and the science community got together to create all those different vaccines in such a short time, has now led to this follow-up technology to come up with a vaccine against the regular flu.
Exactly right. But you know the beautiful and so frustrating thing simultaneously is that when the whole world has a problem, which we still sort of do, but not as bad as it was, it's funny how the Western nations with all the coin, and even China in this case, can get together and make a vaccine. Oh, wow, GI.
What's going on? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Do we still need masks if we got the vaccines?
To avoid the masks, that's true. Very true.
Yeah.
And if you listen to enough people, yes, you do. So thanks for that, GI, and now you can go to bed. But yeah, no, very nice to hear from GI. I used to do a show with GI years ago. It's called the Haberdashery Show.
I remember the days.
Yes.
I used to listen to that myself. Yeah, it was a good show.
It was a good show. They're very good, and it had nothing to do with sewing. But
good night, GI. I remember when you used to do that show, and you used to. It was pre-podcasting. And you used to have a link that we used to be able to download the MP3 from memory.
Yeah. I used to back up the whole show, and then I turned it into a podcast. That's right, I remember. Yeah,
that was good. I do remember that show.
I've still got quite a few of the downloads somewhere. They're fun.
Might have to play parts of it on this show one day. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah. Maybe I will. But no, they're good guys. Very good. They're still doing stuff on the web at times together. Mm-hmm. They did a funny thing. They were tasting wine over the Santa time.
Oh yeah.
And it was so funny because I can't remember them tasting one they liked. It was like every time, because it was like what's that, Advent? It was an Advent calendar, but it was all in wines. And every time they tried one, they nearly spat it out. I just killed myself. It was so funny. Oh God!
Unlike our beer educations, where I don't think we've had a bad one yet.
No, very, very good. Very, very good. No, not like that at all. Not like that at all. But look, we can digress, and we are digressing, and we're having a lot of fun here, but we need to move on because we've got lots to get through tonight. So before we do, I might do a bit of this.
The Australia Institute produces high-quality research that has real-world impact, whether it's revealing the $10.3 billion in fossil fuel subsidies provided by federal and state governments last year, or our long-standing research advocating for a federal anti-corruption commission with real teeth. We change minds. To donate, head on over to australiainstitute.org.au.
Maynard Keynes wrote the book on modern macro, the man you need when the economy's off track. Depression, recession, now your questions in session. Have a seat and I'll school you one simple lesson. 1929, the big crash.
It's the economy, stupid.
Yes,
it is the economy, stupid. And tonight I have a slightly different economical topic to talk about, which is economy of the arts. And this is from America. I could have got one from Australia, but I've got this one from America. As we know,
here, I'm sure.
Oh no, it probably will be. I think, absolutely, because all around the world, internationally, the arts and cultural industries were smashed to death by the pandemic. Now, the amazing thing about this, and the thing that I find extremely wrong, is the amount of revenue that the arts bring in. And I think it was in the billions. I think it was like 4 or 7 billion or something like that by the arts industry.
Yeah.
In Australia, this is in America. I'm talking Australian figures at the moment. And the pandemic rebate or whatever, I can't remember what they call it. The payment
stimulus.
JobKeeper, or it was a stimulus package for the different industries, etc. It was interesting because what they did was they targeted the roadies, and they pretty much targeted anyone with a male occupation,
of course,
that was back of sort of house in the arts industries. But the actual artists themselves got smacked around the head completely.
Yeah, got nothing.
And
virtually.
Yeah, it's just disgraceful, really, really bad. So anyway, that has been improving, and Biden is improving it a bit in America as well. And I know that Albo is doing a bit here as well. But he talks a good game, Albo, on the arts. I mean, it's not hard because Dutton wouldn't know anything. He wouldn't know an art if he fell in it, type thing.
No.
So, but anyway. Oh, sorry. I apologize. Did you have something?
No, I was just going to say nor his predecessor.
Yeah, he was a shocker too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We won't mention that name.
No, the man who will. Well, I don't even know he's a man. The thing that just won't be mentioned anymore.
Yes.
Absolutely not. La 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 la. Anyway, arts and culture industries remain among the hardest hit by the economic crisis inflicted in COVID-19. National Endowment for the Arts and Bureau of Economic Analysis have released new data describing the national state level contribution to the arts and culture sector to the nation's GDP in 2019. The annual economic impacts of art and cultural production for 35 industries, both commercial and non-profit. In 2019, economic activity in the sector had been expanding and added 4.3 directly to the nation's GDP for a total approaching 919.7 billion.
Billion.
And yeah, I mean, because the Broadway, that whole the whole Broadway, and well, Hollywood obviously, but definitely Broadway. Broadway brings in millions.
Yeah, it must, because there's shows every night, and it's not just one theater; it's dozens, if not hundreds, of theaters around Broadway.
And it's absolutely, and it's not just Broadway; it's off Broadway as well. And I mean, some of the off Broadway shows can be, $60, $70 because the Broadway ones are $100 plus. So and they're big theaters too. I mean, some of those. I remember I read something a while ago about when they were putting on. I can't remember what the show was, which is a bugger. It wasn't Mormon, but it was at the Regent Theatre, and they were saying, I think they said something like it was costing them $1 million a day to put the show on, $1 million a night or something. I can't quite remember, but so we're talking. The Regent Theatre, I think, is 1,000, 5,000, 3,000, something like that. And you're talking over 100. Well, more like anywhere between $130 to $200 a ticket, sort of thing. But
just
that's
looking at.
Go for it. Yeah,
I was just going to say, just quickly looking at Broadway, there's 41 active theatres in Broadway, and they seem to range anywhere from 600-700 capacity to, I don't know, a couple of thousand. Yeah, about
a couple of thousand.
A couple of thousand.
Yeah. And how many theaters was there? Sorry,
41.
41. Yes,
and that's just in Broadway.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at off Broadway, but
I think Melbourne's got about 10. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, big ones.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less than that. I'm not sure, but I mean, where the big shows show. Whereas, as you say, I mean, Broadway's got a lot of big shows. So, but so 919.7 billion, and the arts and cultural industries had 5.2 million workers on the payroll, with total compensation of 447 billion, not including self-employed arts workers. So, I mean, I know that some of the lead actors and some of the Broadway players can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Bet. Yeah.
So, I mean, some will definitely be making $1 million a year for sure.
Absolutely.
So,
the big names.
From 2000, definitely. From 2017 to 2019, the value added to GDP from arts and cultural production has grown at a 3% clip, slightly higher than the growth rate for US economy as a whole. This is a little bit old, this information, but it sort of gives you an idea sort of the trajectory, if you like, and the impact. The arts continued to generate widening trade surplus, growing tenfold from 2006 to 2019 to more than 33 billion. The National Assembly of State Arts Agencies has created state dashboards that allow users to see value added by arts and cultural industries to states' economy, as well as key industries in the arts and cultural sector. Yeah, and then they've had to do that here too. They've had to they've had to do that here as well. substantiate their costs and all those sort of things to get funding. But yeah, I mean, they really don't get a lot of funding. Years ago, they did. They got quite a lot more funding. But I'm just hoping that that happens with Albo as well. So
yeah, I'm confident it'll increase over time. They've already talked about increasing the ABC funding, so that's a good step.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know when that's meant to be happening?
I thought it was next financial year, perhaps. I thought it was really supposed to kick in now, just a small fraction, but then increasing over the next few budgets. I guess we'll find out in May.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We got a May budget, don't we? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, my friend.
Speaking of budgets, our budget is in terrible position due to a lot of external factors, as we know, with COVID and the war in the Ukraine and other things. But I wanted to play you a little grab. Yes, exactly. It's what it feels like sometimes with the inflation and
getting a
everything
slight
else.
delay. Slight delay, but he's back. That's good.
Am I back?
You are, but you're not in sync. Oh, you are now.
Right, I am.
Sort of. Ish.
In.
Yeah.
Sync.
Yes, you are.
Now. So I just have
you
to
are
do
now. You are. Very painful. Very
okay,
painful.
good. All right.
Oh, hold on. I've got one here for you.
Yeah.
Why you being a dickhead fool? Stop being a dickhead.
Watch it. I'm watching you. Okay.
I've got it all on my fingertips tonight. I'm right on the.
You're right on the buzzer.
I
wanted to play something that the Prime Minister said just before the last election in 2022.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to hide the little tickers. How do I add it to stream?
No big changes, and there won't be major changes to super.
I do want to be clear, though, about what you did say before.
All right. Let me just play that from the beginning now that we've got the video visuals there. Okay.
Yep.
Here we go.
Nothing to see here approach.
We promise no big changes, and there won't be major changes to super.
I do want to be clear, though, about what you did say before the election.
We've said we have no intention of making any super changes.
That's not just big changes, not just major changes, just you said there won't be any changes.
Yep. So, is that a broken promise that we are now hearing today and in the last few days that the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, is going to double the tax rates paid by Australians who have superannuation account balances worth more than $3 million, which obviously not me because I'm not that rich. Apparently only affects 80,000 people, which is only about 0.5% of all people who pay super in Australia.
That's my answer.
What was that? Can you play that again? Yes, good old clapping. Yes, only got the tail end of it.
Yes. That's my answer. Yeah. I think it's a good thing. I mean,
I think so.
I actually get really, really sick of the media and all this bullshit about promises and broken promises and all this crap. If you are not designing policies, designing legislation, designing your whole agenda around what's happening in the world you're living in at the time that you are needing to design these things, you are not doing the right thing for the people that you're meant to be you're meant to be in charge of. So when the media comes over and go, oh, it's a broken promise, just piss off, because I am sick of it, because the amount of promises that Morrison broke is just ridiculous. And don't even get me started on Howard and all the rest of it. The thing is that Howard said there'd never be a GST.
Yeah, exactly. And look what we've got 20 years later. Still got it.
Exactly right. But it was actually probably not a bad idea, because there's been giving revenue the whole time, sort of thing. So, so what's he doing? He's putting, he's taxing, I believe, people that have got over 3 million in super funds.
Correct.
Well,
and it's not retrospective.
Whoop-de-doo.
Exactly. It's going from 15% to 30%. So it's not that much of a difference. You already got $3 million in the kitty.
Yeah. Most people, not all, and I'm not saying all, but many people that have money had access to money and education when they grew up.
Correct.
So there's not too many people that pull themselves up by their bootstraps and end up having 3 million in super, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I don't feel sorry for anyone who has to pay a bit more tax, because they've just been using it as loopholes the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the money, they find those loopholes or other ways around taxes and rebates and whatever, and we can't afford to get those lawyers, those tax accountants.
Well, I mean, this is what does my head in. I mean, you see people run around in Maseratis and Aston Martins, whatever, and they go, "Oh, you're jealous because I've got one." No, I'm not. It wouldn't be bad to have one, but I'd be destroying the planet if I did. But the other thing is that I would just about guarantee that you didn't get it without stepping on a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not many people that I know that are really, really wealthy that didn't have to do, not necessarily underhanded or even illegal, but they had to step on a lot of people to get to where they wanted to get to.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't just occur. So, is it a broken promise? I don't really give a shit, to be honest. Some people may.
I don't really care. As long as it benefits. As long as it benefits.
Yeah, exactly right. Was it? Absolutely. And did it come with anything else? Like, so there was taxes on the 3 million. Is there anything else in that clip, or?
Not in that clip, but so like I mentioned briefly before, it's not retrospective. So it only kicks in 2025 after the next election. So is it a broken promise? Technically, no, because it's not kicking in until the next election. And if you don't like it, vote him out. Just because of that one.
Is it not kicking in until the next election?
Correct. Yep.
Well, of course it's not a broken promise then.
Yeah.
Because by the time he goes to the next election, he will be saying that's what they want to do. And so, as you say, you have to get elected in.
Yeah. So
how stupid is Hamish?
Yeah. Hamish, well, he's just playing.
I've got to let the cat out.
Yes, you do that. She wants to get out. So I think a lot of reporters are just playing the same game of blaming the current government on breaking promises and whatnot. So out you go, kitty cat. There you go. And she's out. Yes. Got a happy kitty cat now. Have we got a happy
playing dance with the cat?
Got a happy kitty cat now? She's out?
Yes, she's happy she's out now.
Yeah. I was just, while you were away, I was just saying that current reporters, Hamish included on the project, and we watch the project with the kids so that they're aware of issues, and then we talk about a lot of the topics that they cover. But I think Hamish, amongst all the other reporters, are probably going down the same path of the broken promise, and it's just what they do. It's news grabbing, headline grabbing.
It's crap. It's rubbish. Yeah. It's rubbish. Talking about rubbish media, and I'll be really quick about it. Fox News today have been found that, who thought? Been lying the whole time they were on air talking about the big lie in America 2020. They've got a 1.6 billion defamation lawsuit by Dominion machines.
Yeah.
And there's a professor in America that thinks is more than likely they'll definitely win.
Oh, really?
So,
because
Well, Murdoch's come out and said, yes, I knew what I was saying was wrong. I knew what they were saying was wrong. Yes, I didn't believe in what they were saying. And yes, I told them to say it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Wow.
I don't know how.
That's a big admission to say in public at that hearing.
Well, he has to, because he knows it's bullshit.
Yeah.
They'll get him for lying then. And he's on, I think he's been subpoenaed to testify on that court case. So, but anyway, digress as usual. Back to what you were saying.
No, I think we were almost wrapping up that one because it's a good thing that they're taxing extra.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. I mean, gee whiz, as you said, it only affects 80,000 people.
80,000, yeah, 0.5%.
It's ridiculous.
So he loses 80,000 votes. Big deal.
That I can guarantee you that 0.5% will be voting for the other side anyway. So
yeah, exactly. They wouldn't have been voting for him.
Why would he give a shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Go for it. Let them do it.
We do have a little bit of a delay, I believe, and I do believe it is my end because I do believe that the other half is streaming to Paris as we speak. Ooh. So that's pretty handy. That's very handy at the time. But anyway, so that is Econobabble, and this is on this day, which will be coming up in a minute, just after this.
On this day.
If you've just woken up from a coma, you're listening to the new Blurt, and we're talking about on this day. And on this day, I'm talking music, and I am talking in 1981, Eddie Rabbitt, country music star, crossed over to the pop chart to score a US #1 hit with I Love a Rainy Night, which is a fantastic song. I love that song.
Don't know that one.
You know that song, yeah?
I don't think. No, I don't
I
think
love a rainy night. And I love a rainy night. Don't know.
No.
You know that one?
Don't think so. No.
Great song. He had earlier written the Elvis Presley smash Kentucky Rain. I don't know that one. Before having a #5 hit with Driving My Life Away. Although it sounds like he made up a stage name, his real name is Edward Thomas Rabbitt. 1981.
I say Thomas the Tank Engine, but
no, I wasn't going to say Thomas the Tank Engine. What have you been smoking tonight? I was just wondering. It's
called lack of sleep and tired from moving boxes and other stuff.
Definitely. Yes.
I don't need drugs, baby. I just need to not sleep and move shit.
Yeah. Sounds like it. It sounds like it. Have you got one? Or do you want me to?
The only thing I have, which happened exactly a year ago, and I haven't prepared anything else for this segment, is it was our first day of being flooded a year ago today.
I was going to ask if that's where you were going. Holy shitbags.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it's been
today.
Yeah, so yesterday was when the house started to get flooded, but today, the 28th, was the day one of the floods. And obviously we'd had 1 or 2 weeks prior to that of just full on rain all over Brisbane and southeast Queensland. But yeah, today marks 1 year of being flooded.
I gather that's not really something you particularly want to remember.
No, not something I want
to
dwell on too much. But yeah, I thought, it did come to me today. I was looking at photos because I thought, I wonder what happened a year ago. I sort of vaguely knew what it was, and I was just trying to remember, was it today that we got flooded, or was it the first day after the water entered the house? And it was the day after. So yeah, it was the Sunday.
I had a really weird. It wasn't an epiphany, but it was weird because it wasn't like Facebook sent me an algorithm and then sent me another one. Facebook somehow read my mind, which is even scarier. Even scarier. So, so this morning, well, this morning I was walking to work and I was thinking about something. I'm thinking about a girl that I used to know pretty well. She was my babysitter years ago, and I was just thinking about her because her mum used to be really, really good friends with my mum. And I was just thinking, oh, she must be about 60 now or something. And then I was thinking that her and I and Fat Boy, we went out to lunch. We went out to dinner in a nice restaurant in St Kilda a few years ago, and I think it was when I came back out from England, and then I left again, type thing. Went back to England for a few years, and anyway, this afternoon I was at work and I went to get on my phone, and a Facebook post popped up, and it was her birthday with her face.
All right.
And I haven't seen her face or her birthday or any part of her for I don't know how long.
Wow.
And it was her birthday, and she was 60. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Facebook, you know me too well. You're reading my mind, like you said.
I know. That's saying you're reading my mind. That's just not on. It's not on at all.
Mind blown.
Tell you something that was on, though. Yes, I know. 1977, Ray Charles was attacked on stage by a man who tried to strangle him with a microphone cord. The man was a member of a group called Project Heavy, community program for disadvantaged youth. They promised that the matter would be handled with the organisation, and no charges were laid.
Okay.
Interesting. That was in 1977.
1977. I've got a couple.
Go for it.
After all my 7 months of fighting, the Gulf War, Operation Desert Shield, ended in 1991 on this day. So that was George Bush Sr. from memory.
Yes, you're 100% correct. Yes, you're 100% correct.
I remember that one. I remember that Gulf War because for Melburnians, you'll understand this, but my parents owned a milk bar, and
you couldn't get milk. That's right.
I think we were okay, but I remember watching the whole news coverage in the little back room that we had behind the public area, and I think it was my first year at uni. Yeah, it would have been my first year at uni. Just listening to all that and just being amazed and shocked and sad that was happening.
So that was Desert Shield, not Desert Storm, yeah?
Yeah.
1991. So I was
1991.
22. It's 22. Oh no, 21. 22. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Just trying to think where I was. Yeah, was I? Yes, actually, I just moved to Glen Iris.
Nice part of Melbourne.
Yes, it was. I moved in with a hairdresser, which was really cool because I used to
handy.
get free haircuts. Yeah,
yeah. Very convenient. Another thing on this day.
Yes.
In 1984, at the 26th annual Grammy Awards, Michael Jackson won 8 awards, a record for a male artist at the time.
Jesus, what do you know? Which one they were?
No.
Okay, we'll move on then.
I can find out.
No, that's all right. We're running out of time. We're running out of time anyway.
Oh, we are. Aren't we?
Yeah. So I'll just get this last one, which is in 1970, Peter Green, in an interview with the new musical Express, Fleetwood Mac's, Peter Green talked about his plans to give all his money away. The following year, Green confronted his accountant with a gun after he sent him an unwanted royalty check. The guitarist went to jail briefly before being transferred to an asylum and was committed to a mental hospital in 1973.
Wow.
He relaunched his career in the 90s. Wow. That is wow.
Yeah. Amazing.
That is probably not a bad way to go out tonight, I think.
Yeah,
I think so. That's not a bad way. Because that blew my mind slightly. It's got me thinking. I didn't know where that was going, to be honest. And then, because I didn't realise that that was the book. So, but next week, with a bit of luck. Next week, bit of luck, we will have our US correspondent. I really do hope so. It just depends if he can make it, because he's a very busy man.
Dr. Brendan
Bolton. Yes, Dr. Brendan Bolton. He's a New Zealander that lives here, I believe. I think it's Australian National University. I think so.
Okay.
Anyway, I will double check on all of that. We'll have all that information and more. Absolutely, we will. And no doubt about that whatsoever. And until next week, I reckon it's probably a good night for me. And I hope you enjoyed the show.
Good night from me. And don't forget to subscribe and like.
Yes, absolutely. If you're watching on YouTube, do exactly that on the new blurt.substack.com and blurt.gmail.com. We are on Spoutable if you want to look for us on spoutable.com. We're on Twitter as well, as you can see with our aliases. Can you pop those up at all for a second? Yeah, there we go. So at Blurt New is our Twitter handle. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, so you can get us everywhere. And absolutely. And yes, and the potty will be out. Well, it'll be out as fast as we can get it out, basically. But we hope we try to get it out every Saturday as much as we can. So with a bit of luck, that should be when it's out. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you next week.
We did.
It's been the Keigster out.
See you later. Bye.
See you, buddy.